Hey, my name is Serge. Welcome to Board Game Detectives. Today we will talk about Bad Company. My rating for this game is Excellent Casual. This is represented by green color in my color wheel system, where I put games into 6 different buckets. You can read more about that in the description. Today we will talk about things that I like about Bad Company and things that I don't like about it. But before that, let's compare this game to some other similar games. Let's take a look at this probability chart, where we have probability on the vertical axis and numbers 1 through 12 on the horizontal axis. We will be comparing Catan, which is a great representation of 2 dice. What happens with the probability? We see that it peaks at 7 and it is symmetrical going down to 2 and 12. Then next game is Machi Koro. In Machi Koro, you can roll either 1 die or 2 dice, and the blue line represents the probabilities. In Space Base, you also roll 2 dice, but you have an option. You can either take both of them separately or take their sum, and we have brown line representing that. Valeria is somewhat similar to Space Base, but instead of or, it is and. You both use dice separately and the sum. So Valeria has the highest probability amongst all those games. So we have 3 games that are direct competitors of Bad Company: Machi Koro, Space Base, and Valeria. All these 3 games have 3 things in common. Number 1. They are luck-based games. Even though they have excellent luck mitigation strategies, they are still luck games. Number 2. Numbers 1 through 6 have higher probability than numbers 7 through 12. Okay? And number 3 is that all 3 games are very predictable in terms of probabilities. If you know how probabilities work, you have a higher chance of winning in all those games. Bad Company is very different. It does not have any of those 3 items, and I will show you now. In Bad Company, instead of 2 dice, you will use 4. The main player will arrange them into 2 pairs and will activate both of them. The orange line represents the probabilities for Bad Company, and we see slight bumps on the ends just because the game is incentivizing numbers 2, 3, 4 and 10, 11, 12. But other than that, the line is pretty much flat across numbers 3 to 11. This might seem as a very flat and predictable game, but the huge difference in Bad Company is that the main player has 3 different options on how they can arrange those 4 dice. And they pick one of those 3 options based on which numbers they want to activate. So even though this game is still very luck-based, but it is much less luck compared to Valeria, Space Base, and Machi Koro. Let's say if the player wants to get number 8, and we can do a little demonstration. You would need 2, maximum 3 rolls to get to number 8, and we can quickly test how many times I need to roll to get 3 times 8. No. Okay, so we have 1, 8, so it's 2 rolls. Another 8. No. And no. Okay, and another 8. So I rolled, I don't remember, was it 5 times? And I got 3 8s. So the point is that you can, in 2 rolls, you can get to the number that you need. And rerolls in this game are relatively cheap. You would pay just $1 for a reroll. So if you strategize around specific number just with $1 cost, you are almost guaranteed that you can activate that number. So this drastically changes Bad Company compared to Valeria, Space Base, and Machi Koro. In those three games, the probabilities rule. You can plan, you can expect that 1 through 6 will be activated more than 7 through 12. In Bad Company, you don't know. Every game is very different, and this dotted line represents each individual game, which will be driven by individual players pursuing their individual goals. And this brings us to number 1, what I love about Bad Company. This game is very player-driven. It has relatively low level of luck involved. With 4 dice and very cheap rerolls, you can get to almost any desired outcomes. The non-main players have a choice which pair they want to go with. And at the end of the game, the last round, each player can create their own pair of the dice. So there is a lot of luck mitigation in this game, and players have very high level of control over what is happening. And if you do get unlucky, I really love the task areas where you can convert the items that you were unlucky to get into some other very useful items. So excellent luck mitigation strategy as a last resort. Number 2, what I love about Bad Company is very high player interaction. To begin with, you will watch after other players and see which numbers they prioritize, because most often those numbers will be the ones that you will have to deal with. So you might want to copy some other players in what they are doing. Or maybe not. For example, if you see that I am upgrading number 8, you could decide to upgrade your 8 as well. So anytime I roll 8, you will benefit from that. But it works the other way around too. Anytime you roll 8, I will benefit from that. So this dilemma provides very interesting strategic choices for you. Secondly, I really love the police chase mechanism in this game. It is a big part of the player interaction, and it adds a lot of fun to the play. Besides managing your team of 11 and completing heists, which is the main point of the game, you will have to move your car along this cute road in this little cute city. Along the way, you will be collecting victory points, loot cards, or money. But this happens as long as the police car has not passed that point yet. If they do, then you are not collecting this bonus. And the movement of the police car is defined by this black die. It can be 0, 1, or 2, and you can reroll it together with the other 4 dice. So there is pretty high level of control over the outcome. And let's say if you're red, you can choose to go with the 2 so that the police car advances and the yellow does not get their bonus. But in this case, it gets closer to you. So again, a dilemma, what do you do? The next brilliant mechanism that highly increases player interaction is the necklaces. Here's a typical flow of the game. You'll be activating your numbers, which will give you different bonuses. For example, it can be money that are used for buying new upgrades. It can be wheel that is used to move your car, or one of the 4 other elements, which is flashlight, lock, mask, or hand, which you will use to complete the heists. Anytime you complete the heists, you can score victory points, some immediate bonuses, or long-term bonuses, effects, or end-of-the-game effects. But there is one more very cool element. There are 4 different valuable items here. It can be bag of money, diamond, bar of gold, and art. Anytime you complete a heist, you look around and you check if other players have one of those 4 elements. If you have the majority, you score this necklace. There are 4 different necklaces, the same as those 4 different valuables. It is very nice to have one of those necklaces or many of those, because you can put them on one of your gang members, and anytime you activate them, they will give you 1 additional victory point. This piece is very important in this game, like you want those necklaces, which forces you to look at other players and look which icons they have, so that then you would either specialize in something different or you try and beat them. This adds a lot of player interaction in the game, which I love a lot. Number 3, what I love about Bad Company is that it is very thematic. I don't necessarily like the theme, I don't like crime, but the designers did an excellent job in combining the theme and the mechanisms. It all works together and the flow makes sense. You have a very cute team of 11. You can use a recruiter to pay money and to upgrade those members. They will complete heists, they will collect loot, and all of that is happening while you are participating in very cool police chase. Everything is very thematic and everything merges together in a very beautiful package. And there are only 2 things that I do not like about Bad Company. The first is the box. Give me a break. I don't need this huge box. I don't have space on my shelf. It could be half the size. Number 2 is about heist cards. Many of them come with just victory points. Some can give you immediate money, loot cards, or end of the game victory points. All of that is very intuitive, but there are a lot of cards that are much less intuitive, especially for new players. This game comes with a reference sheet. I believe this extra layer of complexity was unnecessary. I feel this is an excellent game which can be positioned for anyone. And now this piece makes it less approachable for new players. I do not like it. Funny enough, the game, when I just bought it, was missing some parts. The publisher sent me the replacement, and with the first try, they sent me a wrong deck of cards. They did succeed with the second shipment. But now I have this extra set of heist cards. I'm thinking to open it up and to just cover those unclear effects with very simple either dollar signs or the loot cards. So I will modify the game by myself. So here we are, Bad Company. This game is often compared to Machi Koro, Space Base, and Valeria. But this game is very different because there is very high level of player agency, very high level of player control on what is happening on the board. This brings very different gameplay and a lot of player interaction, which is very fun. If you are still watching, please let me know in the comments, do you prefer the predictability of Machi Koro, Space Base, and Valeria? Or you like this chaos but fun with Bad Company? Let's discuss in the comments. Thank you again, see you next time.